This is the video I wish I could have seen when I first started producing. I'm about to teach you everything that you actually need to know to make good beats and just show you the basic stuff. A little bit about me: I work with Gucci Mane, Megan Thee Stallion, Lil Tyler, B Slime, Young Bino, Cash Page, just to name a few. But yeah, let's get right into the video. All right, so you just open FL for the very first time. All right, real quick. So these buttons at the top, this is the drum rack. This is what I call the drum rack. It's really called the channel rack. I call it the drum rack because I do my drums in here. And I would suggest whenever you have these open, instead of doing it in these little windows like this and then doing it, just make sure it's full screen like this, because you know what, I'm all in the windowed version, it just looks weird. And then the next thing you need to know about is the mixer channels. So these are the mixer channels. They have 1 to all the way to 999. This is the main view. So this is called the playlist, and this is like where you make the beat, do all the editing of the audio and where it's placed and the timing of it and stuff, doing the patterns, and then you go inside the patterns, inside the piano roll, and then you can edit the notes, and then in the playlist you're able to move it around and stuff. What you need to do first thing is download drum kits. So I'm gonna leave a couple links in the description. One is gonna be Rio Leva's free drum kit. Second one is gonna be my kit, $60 kit, but I'm gonna give it to y'all for free download, only for the people that are on this video, as long as you drop a subscription. But yeah, download that, and then once you have them downloaded, if you're on Windows or Mac, it doesn't matter, literally drag and drop it from your downloads into this little section right here. I would recommend naming the file, like the big group file called drum kits, then put all the drum kits inside that. Then I would just drag the drum kits folder inside here, just like how I have it. My folder is called drum kits. That's where I have all my drum kits basically. Then once you have drum kits, now you're gonna need to get some VSTs, and I actually have an entire video on free VSTs. I'm gonna link in the corner, and on that video in the description there are links to free VSTs that you can use. So now once you have everything downloaded, you're ready to make a beat. But real quick, I'm gonna show you how to make a template, because you're probably wondering what this pattern is with all this stuff in it. Basically, I have two channels. They're both sampler channels, and what sampler channels are basically just empty channels that you can drop samples in, then you can edit them inside this sampler. So I have two, and the reason for that is because one is for the hi-hat and one is for the snare. You're about to see what I mean. So let's say I want to start a beat, but I want to start with the drums first, or I just want to have drums ready so that when I'm making a melody, I can already hear the rhythm. I'm just gonna go here, pick a hi-hat, and then a clap. And notice how the pattern is already ready for me. So all I have to do is choose which hi-hat and clap or snare I want. I'm able to go off of that, and that's called a template, and that's all I have. Then on the master, I have a fruity balance and a soft clipper just on default settings. That's my template, and if you want to make your own template, I'm about to show you. So first thing, go to the mixer track, go to the master, it's just M, go to slot 1, find where it says fruity balance, open it, close it, go to slot 2, find where it says fruity soft clipper, open it, then close it. Boom, you're done with that. Then if you want to create the hi-hat and clap thing I did, this is probably what you're seeing right now, and this is usually the default template for FL Studio, but I'm about to show you how to change that. So just delete all this stuff. You're gonna be left with a sampler. Right click it, go here, press clone. Now you have two. Then on the first one, right click it, and then press fill each 2 steps. Then go to the piano roll, press control or command if you're on Mac. On the 2, left click drag like that. Then press command or control D to clone it over a bunch of times, all the way until where it says 9, because this is 8 bars. Look, if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It might be a little confusing because on where it says 9, that's where the 8th bar ends, but you gotta think like that's where the 8th bar ends and that's where the 9th bar begins. It's a little confusing, but I'm just gonna lay down an 808 real quick. So usually what I do for 808s, I turn use loop points off. I do that for everything usually. I never use loop points, always turn that off. And then I go to the second icon right here, click on it. It's like the envelope knob. And then you go down here. Now you're gonna hold down Alt or Option if you're on Mac. On your mouse, you're gonna use a scroll wheel. Down on the attack, up on the hold, down on decay, down on sustain, and down on release. See how you're able to do that really fast without having to drag it down each time? It's just way faster. So if you just hold Option and Alt, look how fast I can do it after like doing it so many times. Look, like that's not that fast, but it's a lot faster than doing this. You just want to find the shortest technique possible, basically. Now go to the third icon, and you always want to do this for 808s, cut by itself. Usually, sometimes it is cut by itself already, but sometimes it's not. You just want to double check in the wrench icon, cut by itself. Just click that button. And a lot of people will tell you, oh, you have to link all your drums to the mixer track. If you plan on rendering the stems later on, put on like BeatStars or something to sell it, then yeah, you could do that. But I usually don't put anything on mixer track unless I'm trying to edit it. Why do you need to put it on the mixer track? unless you're gonna put something on it. Because if you're just gonna link it to the mixer track for no reason, then what are you linking it there for? I make my beats and then I go back to my favorite ones, and those are the ones that I post on BeatSource. And then if a label needs stems, I'll just go to the beat and render the stems out. Hey, it's up to you if you want to render the stems every time. I used to do it, but it used to drive me crazy. So now I don't do that. I just go back to the project and then I get the stems later. I've noticed it saved me a lot of time. But if you want to go the extra mile and get all the stems, do you. All right, I'm just gonna lay down a quick 808. Another thing you need to know is that this is the BPM right here. BPM is how fast the beat is. What a normal BPM in like fast trap, like Future, Drake, it'd be like 140 to 150 for like club hits. And then if we're talking about like slow trap, like Gunna beats back in like 2018, it'd be like 115 to like 120. But there's so many different genres, so many different BPMs. Don't even get caught up in all that. Just make music that sounds good. So I'm just gonna go to 150 because I like that BPM. On hi-hats, I like to go to the wrench knob and do this shift knob right here. Basically what you're doing is you're shifting it over in time, making it basically off time, but it adds like a rhythm, it adds like a bounce to it. It's called swing. And then this knob right here on the drum rack also adds swing. And then if you're wondering for claps, like in trap, if you're anywhere above like 110 BPM, usually you would put the clap in the middle of where it says 1 and 2, you would put it there. If you count these gray lines right here, it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 3 in the 7 counts. But let's say you're making a beat in 90 BPM, that would be like halftime. So it'd be like, do the math. You basically, if you're in a really slow BPM, times it by 2. Think about what's 90 times by 2 is 160. So at that point, the claps will be hitting every like this. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna do 150 and we're gonna do it the 3 and the 7 counts. When you go up one note like that, it's in key. So what I did just there, I just did command or control if you're on Windows, and then left click drag from 5, which is the end of the 4th bar, and then all the way to the 1. Then I did command or control if you're on Windows B, and then that duplicates it over. Then what I'm gonna do is command or control, and that's gonna legato it and make all the notes touch each other basically. Now for extra bounce, I'm gonna add a couple extra hi-hats. I'm gonna do a low one right here. Then I'm gonna go to this green magnet and then go to 6-step. And basically what the green magnet is think about time, and all these integers of time is like basically the smaller the number you go, the more you divide it. It's like half step. Now you are able to make even more notes in between. Let's go to 4-step, even more notes, smaller notes. Let's delete all this. Now let's go to the 6-step. Now you're able to put notes really close together. The notes are repeating really fast basically. All right, so at the end of this bar, I just did a 6-note roll. If you really listen, you can hear the bounce. Listen to the rhythm. I'm gonna duplicate that. So as you see, there's only 2 bars that repeat for the entire pattern. What I've learned over many years of producing is that shorter repetitions of patterns bounce way harder throughout the whole beat than if you were to just freestyle the whole pattern. Everything's different through the whole 8 bars. Like there's no rhythm to that. It sounds so much better when you repeat short segments of rhythm that have a bounce. It just makes the beat so much better, trust me. All right, now let's add an instrument. And to keep it simple so everyone can learn easily, I'm just gonna do a piano, because that's like a good way to start a beat. You can use the piano, make a melody, and then literally change it to a different VST, different sound like a synth or something, and then it sounds completely different, something you would have never made. Let's just start with the piano. We're in D minor, and right now you have no idea what that means. There is basically combinations of these notes that sound good together, and there are 12 different scales and there are 12 different notes. I'm just gonna show you them right now. Right now I have it on default. The scale looks default. I will show you how to change that. C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, back to C. That's 12 notes. That's called an octave. So if you go up 12 notes, that's going up in a whole octave. And basically the difference is just higher and lower pitch. Like listen. those were all the same notes. They were just higher and lower pitch. Think about a big piano and they have all those keys. The higher you press, the higher the notes are, the lower you press, you know what I mean? It's literally a piano inside of, and what's crazy is that learning to use this inside of FL taught me to play the piano. I can't play the piano crazy, but I understand the piano now. So let's just make a basic chord. Usually everyone makes beats in minor and trap, so I'm just gonna show you how to make a minor chord. I will show you how to make a major chord too. It's really easy. Start at the root note, which would be D, because that's what I placed the 808 in. And the root note is basically what determines the scale. So like I said, there's 12 scales, there's 12 notes, and all the notes are the scales, because if you start on one note as the root note of the scale, that will determine the whole entire scale. So let's say you do C as the root note. That's gonna be C minor, C sharp minor, and so forth. So we're in D. You're just gonna go up, hold shift, and then left click, drag 1, 2, 3 up. So that's 3 notes up. Then you're gonna do the same thing and drag 4 notes up. So shift, click, drag 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's a minor chord. Going from D, 1, 2, 3, that's F, right? Going from F, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's A. So this is a minor chord. So the formula for a minor chord is basically up 3 from the root note, then up 4 from the middle note. And then how to make a major is literally just move the middle note up 1. Now the formula went from 4 to 3 instead of 3 to 4. So the difference between a minor and a major chord is literally just the middle note. Let's just make a melody. So what I just did was I pressed C to get to the cutting tool, and then I cut a note right here to add a note. And why that works is because it's already a part of the chord. I'm just making a note where I hear it in my head. Whatever you hear in your head, you can just do whatever. So if you want to cut the chord like this, like you can do that, but I don't want to do that. And then what I did was I cut the middle note right here, and then I went down 1. Because in the minor scale, if you go down 1 from the middle note, it's in key. When I said, oh, go up 3, you could also go up 2 because that's also in key. Every time you go up from the root note in the minor scale, you go up 2, that's gonna be in key. You go up 3, that's gonna be in key. So those are both in key. Then on the bottom note, I went down 5, and that's a magic number because that's always going to be in key because that's a 5th. Also, if you go down 4 in the minor scale, that also works. What's really common is people go down 4 and then they'll go down 5. So we have these 2 bars. I'm just going to duplicate it. What you could do is hold command or control and left click drag to highlight all these middle notes, and then hold control or command, then up arrow to put it up an octave. That works. Then what we could do is go down and select these bottom notes, and then shift click it, then hold control or command down arrow to put bass notes. It'll make the melody sound more full. We can go down one more time. Yeah. Now what you could do is while they're still highlighted, you could hold down Alt or Option, and then on your mouse, scroll down with the wheel while hovering over the playlist. You have to be hovering over the playlist. If you're hovering over this, it won't work. You'll just scroll down. It will just move the playlist. You have to be hovering over the notes to turn down the velocity. And what the velocity is just the volume. It's just volume. These bottom notes, since they're selected and I'm turning them down and you can see them going down right here, that means that the volume of the bass notes, those heavy bass notes, that means it's lower. And the reason why I did that is because it was like really loud and muddying up the melodies, so I just turned it down. But you still get that fullness. So now what you can do is right click the piano, clone it, and then you can do control or command C. When you have this highlighted on the channel rack, you see that little highlight right there? Hit command or control C, and then hit command or control V onto this next one. Then go over here and turn this off. And basically that just turns the sound off on this channel, so you can't hear anymore. And what I'm doing is I'm gonna change the plugin. So I'm gonna right click it and hit replace. Whatever plugin you want, you can change it to that, and then you'll have a whole different sound for it. I like that. I'm gonna keep that. All right, now I'm gonna open up another instance of Nexus, and I'm just gonna add a lead. I came up with this little melody, and all I did literally just took that out of my head. If you have trouble coming up with the melody and it sounds all weird and it's like out of key, just do this. Go to the top left, go here. You see this little drop down menu? Click view, then go here, scale highlighting, then go to minor natural Aeolian. Right click this so that the menu doesn't go away, because if you were to click it, look, the menu goes away. Now you have to go all the way here. Just go here, press view, go to scale highlighting, right click minor natural Aeolian, then whatever key you're in. So I'm in D, I would go to D. See how all the notes that are in key are in these light notes, and then all the notes that are out of key are in the dark. These dark ones don't work, so just click notes that are inside the white notes. The reason why I don't do that and I just have it on default is because over time I've learned how to just play by ear, and then I just do it by ear. So I just did that little melody, and I'm gonna change the sound again just so that we can get a different sound. Like that could work if I put an effect on it. And I'm gonna go here, and then you're gonna find a plugin called Fruity Delay 3. And then what you're gonna do, go to time, set, and you could do anything you want, but I'm gonna do a quarter because I like quarter note delays. Then you're gonna go to this thing that says HP, that's a high pass filter. And then you're gonna go to this cutoff, and you're gonna turn it all the way until at the top left it says 500 hertz or 1000. You could do whatever you want. Just make sure it's above like 500. And basically what that's gonna do for the delay is gonna make sure that the delay doesn't muddy up your track, because too much low end building up to muddy up your track. All right, so right now the delay is really high, so what we're gonna do is, you see this mix knob right here? Basically this is like the dry and wet knob. For every plugin it's the mix knob, so it's basically mixing what you had before versus after the plugin. So I'm just gonna do like 20%, and the way you see that is in the top left. Maybe a little bit more delay. Then there's a lot of high end on that delay, so I'm just gonna do the tone down. And the tone, basically, think about it, it's just the tone, like it's making it darker. Go to the left, it's darker. And it's a little darker for the delay so that when it repeats, it doesn't mess with the lead. And it's a little loud, so I'm gonna go to the mixer knob and I'm just gonna turn it down. I still think there's a little bit too much high, so every single mixer channel there's built-in EQ in the bottom right, and if you go to the one all the way on the right, these are the highs, and like I said, there's too much highs, so I'm gonna turn it down. Like right there. All right, now I'm just gonna turn off the lead and let's add an open hat. Once you find an open hat, you can just drag it right in here in the middle. And I do the same thing to the open hats that I do to the 808s. Normally, this is all you would need: a hi-hat, clap, 808, and open hat. Now you can add some perks if you want to, but usually this is all you need. Now, depending on where you place the open hat is completely up to you, but I'm just gonna place it on the 1. Then right here as well. So when I said 1, that means like the 1 count, the very first part of the pattern. And I just heard it right there. So wherever you hear it at, place it at. Super simple. Notice how I just duplicated the first 2 bars again. So remember when I said I usually don't put the drums on the mixer channel? So how do you mix it? You see all these little knobs right here? The left ones are the panning, meaning how much do you want it in your left ear compared to your right ear? And then on the right knob, it's the volume. So how loud is it? Let's say the hi-hat's too loud, then you would turn it down. You want the clap to be louder, turn it up. One thing I would recommend though, usually keep the hi-hat quieter than the clap. Usually, but that's completely up to you. This is music, do what you want. All right, we don't have too many patterns, but this could work as a base. So let's just go to pattern 1. There's gonna be a pattern 1 right here. If you're selected on these 2, then you won't see it. So you're gonna have to be select on this icon. Go to pattern 1, right click it, split by channel. And if your pattern is 8 bars long and you were doing exactly what I was doing, you're gonna have your stuff on this side. And if you want this reorganized, then you can actually shift this around. So I actually want my drums on the bottom. So what I'm gonna do is click the first one, hold shift, click the bottom of the drums, drag this down underneath all the melodies, and then I just shift it around. I just did the same thing, shift click them all. Then I just drag them into the playlist and I put them on the 1. And if you click into the playlist and put the playhead on number 1, what I'm gonna do is hold control or command plus B a bunch of times. Then I'm gonna delete everything on the first, like on right here. Then I'm gonna create like an intro. In today's age, people do have short attention spans, so let's just drop the beat right away. Let's just put everything right away. Besides the open hat, I'm not gonna put the open hat. But for the last 2 bars, I'm gonna take it out like that. So all I did was press C to get to the cut tool, then shift and left click and hold down. You can press B to get back here and then hold right click to delete. Or a faster way to do that is actually just press C and then shift click and right click down, and then it will delete whatever edge you're closest to, it will delete. So let's say I want to delete something right here. I was closest to that edge, so it deleted it. I'm gonna have the piano in the intro, and then it's gonna go off into the synth, then it's gonna go to the synth with the lead, then it's gonna go to the piano with the lead. But for this part, I want it to be a little different, so I'm gonna click on the top left of it, make it unique. So this is the top line synth that we did, so now this is unique, is a different pattern. So this is different from this. I'm gonna click into it by double clicking, then I'm gonna do command or control down arrow, and I'm just putting it down an octave basically. So it sounds like this. So you can consider these 16 bars the hook, and then I'm gonna take out the open hat on the verse, so that would be this 16 bars, and then I'm gonna do a little transition with the hi-hats. So let's say I take out the first clap like this, and then I delete the hi-hat like this where the clap is, then I also delete it right when the 3rd bar starts. That's when the hi-hats start playing again. So let's see what that sounds like. It adds a little transition for an artist to like say something right there and like do a little switch up. Before it goes to the second part of the verse, which is right here, we could take out everything right when the clap hits. So even when the clap hits, there's no clap. Let's see what that sounds like. That's pretty cool. One more thing we could do. So sometimes there's 24 bars in a verse, and that's what we're gonna do for this beat. But sometimes it ends and it just goes right back to the hook or the pre-chorus, which would be this. So this is like considered the pre-chorus before the hook. The hook and chorus is the same thing. So don't get confused when I say chorus or hook, they're the same thing. And then pre-chorus or pre-hook, same thing. So it's the thing that comes before the hook, the most catchy part of the song. Then the verse is like when people go into rapping in detail, like stuff like that. We're gonna do 24 bars for a verse. So for the last part, I'm gonna transition it like this. There's gonna be no clap, but there's gonna be a hi-hat and 808, and that sounds good a lot of times. So it's gonna sound like this. But there's a lot of stuff going on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take out this synth right here, also the synth lead. And then this is where you're gonna learn something a little bit more advanced than just beginner. Hold shift, left click, drag all the way down to a new track, right click the track, go to consolidate from track start. Make sure that you copy my settings exactly. Then after you hit start, you're gonna have this. Just go to this track where there's like an extra track for some reason, right click it, press delete. Now you have an audio version of the piano or whatever stem you just duplicated. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna highlight all this and then do shift and down arrow to drag everything down one. Then I'm gonna put the piano in a new slot, and then I'm gonna delete this piano because we have a new one. I'm gonna go to it and then make sure that the mode is on stretch and that the declicking mode is on generic. I do this for all audio clips. Make sure you do that for all audio clips. Pitch it down an octave, so 1200 cents. So if you see at the top left, it says 1200 cents. Make sure it says that. So basically what you just did is you converted MIDI to audio by consolidating it, and that's a huge thing because then you can manipulate audio a lot. But all we did is just pitch it down an octave, and basically what that did made it sound, obviously pitched it down an octave, but it also changed the format of it. It made it sound different. So what we're gonna do, since it's really low, really muddy, we'll put it on a track, and I'm gonna also put all the other melodies on a track. So we're gonna go to the drum rack, or the channel rack as it's called, and then we're gonna click on one of the melodies to highlight it on these little bar things right here. And then if you have another melody, right click the next one, because then it will add it to highlight it. And then you're gonna hold control or command at +L, and then that's gonna automatically link it to the mixer channels. If you have multiple melodies, you're gonna hold command or control, left click, drag all the way to all the melodies that you have. You're gonna go down to these things. You see these little things on the bottom. Then you're gonna right click and press route to this track only. So now all these channels are linked to this one. And then I have a preset as a low cut EQ, but since you don't have that, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna click on the bus. That's what you call it. All these channels are routed to this channel, so that it's like the bus for that channel. Because think about it, it's like a bus. All these channels are getting on the bus, and then this channel affects all these channels basically. So whatever you put on this channel is gonna affect all these channels. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna automate an EQ. So go click on an empty slot and then find Fruity Parametric EQ2. Click that. You're gonna go to the second preset, 20 hertz, 18K plus hertz. You're gonna do that. But for the top band right here, you see this icon right here, hold this and then drag it all the way down until it's gone. And then you're gonna click the left one and look at the top left of the screen. Just just drag it all the way until it says 160, but make sure you have this HQ turned on. Basically it's just high quality mode, oversampling mode. Make sure you have that turned on. It makes it sound better. Then you're gonna want to click out of the plugin. Then you see this little thing next to the plugin. Click that, go to save preset, and then save it as low cut. Now every time you make a beat, here's what you're gonna do. After you link everything together onto one channel, then you right click the channel and press file. Then you go to your low cut preset, click it, it automatically loads up. Then what you could do is throughout the beat, turn this off first, turn the mix knob off to where it's all the way off and the EQ is off. Then right click the mix knob and then press create automation clip. So now what you're gonna do is, so whenever this 808 is playing, you're gonna have the EQ turned on like this, and you can literally just draw in the pattern. So the 808 isn't playing right here, so I turn it off, right? It's like little rectangles. I'm just following the 808, right? So it's on right there, follow it, it's off right there, so make sure it's it. So now whenever the 808 is playing, the EQ is on. So what that does is basically it turns off the bass in the melodies while the 808 is playing, because that's a bass and you don't want to muddy up the track. So that's all you're doing. Then on the last part of the verse, I'm gonna do just this synth right here with the chords. I'm gonna make it unique, and then I'm gonna pitch it up an octave. Then I'm gonna convert to audio, put it on stretch mode and generic bleeding, and make sure to cut off the end of it. Then I'm gonna reverse it. See how I gave it a whole different feel? I'm just gonna turn it down a little bit. We can even pitch it up an octave. Then if you do pitch it up an octave, come to the wrench knob, and then you see where it says mod X. This is basically an EQ. Whatever you do to the left, it's basically like a low pass. And then whatever percentage you go to the right, it's like a high pass. So we're gonna go to the left because since I pitched up an octave, there's a lot of highs. We're gonna take out some of those highs. Alright, after you have the pre-chorus, the hook, and the verse, you can just hit Control or Command plus A to highlight everything, then Control or Command plus B to duplicate everything, then click to see at the end. Alright, this is 2 minutes and 30 seconds. That's long enough. I don't need to duplicate it another time. You can change things between the two if you want to make the verses different, but I'm just going to leave it just to keep it simple for this beat. You're probably thinking, wait, that's it? You're just going to leave the beat like this? And yes, placements happen off of simple beats like this. So I just gave you the basics of what I would have loved to learn when I first started, and basically all you have to do now is just keep making beats and you'll just get better and better. Obviously there's more videos to watch. I have more videos on my channel, so I appreciate if you subscribe with the notification bell on so you don't miss anything I post, and give the video a thumbs up. It really helps out. And if your friends need help too, then send them this video. I'm gonna show you one last thing, and that's how to export the beat. If you want to check if your beat has a little bit of tail to it, then after you press Control or Command A, then right click a little bit afterwards. So you see 2 bars after there's 99, so I'm gonna right click that, and then I'm gonna play 2 bars before the beat ends. Right here I'm gonna left click that, and I'm gonna press space. Notice how the beat ends right away, so I'm just gonna make this highlighted area just on right where it ends. So all I did was press Control or Command A, and then now the highlighted section is on the beat where it stops. That's where I want it to stop. So wherever you want the beat stop, if your beat has a little bit of a tail, if you added like reverb on your beat, yeah, you're gonna want to do that. Oh yeah, one more thing I wanted to show you, other than the delay, you're gonna want to use reverb a lot too, because reverb sounds really good. So wherever you see Fruity Reverb 2, that's the one you want to use. And now it sounds like I'm in a room. For this, what you're gonna want to do is use the low cut, put it on like 300. That way the reverb is never muddy. Then you can really do whatever else you want with all these knobs. This is how long it is. This is the decay. So you see how it's really long now. So that now when I drag it to the left, it's really short. Then here's the wet knob, more reverb, and then less reverb. And then early reflections, you can mess with this. Basically, it's when I first talk, how much volume of my voice is when I first talk. You hear the difference low here versus here. It sounds like I'm in a room versus farther away, and the walls are farther away. When the early reflections are down, the walls are further away. When they're up, the walls are closer. So think about that. You can really just design whatever you want. All right, back to the rendering. So after you have the whole beat that you want highlighted and it ends where you want it to end, then you're gonna hit Shift Control or Command plus R, and that's gonna bring up an MP3 render. Make a beat folder or save it to your desktop, whatever folder you want to save it to. I recommend making a beats folder, making a year folder, then inside that make the month. I do all my beats by year and month, and then I save them all like that. I'm gonna go to my April folder, and then the beat's called begin, and then I'm gonna put the BPM, so the BPM is 150, and then I'm gonna put the key. I made it in D minor, so I'm gonna put D minor. Then I'm gonna put my producer name, and then I'm gonna put the vibe. So this is like dark, and then I used a synth, so I'll just do dark synth, just like that. And then I save it, and then make sure you copy these exact settings that I have right here. Then you're gonna want to press start. Then when you go to your folder, you should have the file just like that. Another thing you can do to render is you can press Control or Command R, and then that will render a wave file. And a wave file is basically just a higher quality file. That's all you need to know. But I use MP3 because it's smaller size, and you can always render out the wave later, plus the stems later. But that's a different video to watch. Anyway, I hope this video helps you. It's been 6. Peace out.